Okay.
Oh man, what's happening, brother?
What's up with you?
What in the world?
Man, bro.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Telling you.
Yeah, so this is like a podcast ain't a podcast, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like me reaching out to the creatives, man, and the ones I saw had a big year and all of that stuff, all the dudes I look up to, and just get some context on, the highs and the lows of what was going on before COVID and what's going on now and how you pivoting and anything, any inspiration or anything that you can give for the culture. So basically this is just for the culture. So it's just give a little intro on who you are, and then we can get into all of that other stuff.
Sure. My name is Archie Green. I'm a creative, an artist, a mental health advocate. Some people know me for my raps. Some people know me for my events. Some people know me for the work I do within mental health, fighting depression, using hip hop as a means to break the stigma. So yeah, that's pretty much yeah.
So I'm a huge fan. So I seen you make a huge pivot, man. You was at Mocha. You went out on your own and did a whole bunch of big stuff. Had a whole bunch of stuff going on, all kind of stuff, man. Just touch on like probably the biggest accomplishments up to the date in that movement, that wave that you was on. Like you made the decision. Talk about the decision you made to leave Mocha, the impact you had at Mocha, and the transitions you was doing and making those moves.
Sure. So, my position, for those who don't know, at Mocha, I was community engagement programs manager there. And I was basically tasked with, bringing a bit of diversity to the programming, focusing on satisfying the people that were already coming to Mocha, but also bringing in a new audience, expanding audience. And my methods of doing that came from a place of being a fan of Mocha, being a fan of the arts, and not seeing enough people that look like me walk in the doors. And so I'll never forget, I was, initially motivated by a friend of mine. A lot of people know Tubi Fresco. He owns a studio in Bedford called Breakthrough Sounds. And we were at an event in Mocha. This is before I even got the job. And he was there. We were at this artist mixer that they were throwing. And our homeboy, Marcus Allen Ward, was DJing. And, he was those two guys were like really, out of maybe a few others, the only blacks that were there. And it was Tubi's first time being at Mocha. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, man, how is that even possible? Mocha's so dope. Like, it's such a dope building. How could you not want to go? And he's like, well, just we don't really feel welcome there, and it's from the outside looking in, it seems kind of intimidating and all this. So I use that as fuel for me to do this kind of work. So the type of work that I did was with the hope of diversifying the audience, and that was in all the programs that I did. I did various programs that were already established, different art talks, panel discussions, but I also implemented my own line of programming called Eclectic, which was tied to celebrating artists as well as small businesses based in Cleveland through a hip hop lens. So we did programs on sneaker culture. We did programs on production, hip hop production. We did program on women in hip hop. And we did, the biggest program we did was with Bone Thugs and Harmony, celebrating 25 years, and getting them to perform first of the month on March 1st at an art museum, which was a huge deal. Oh man, it was a legendary night. It was a legendary night, and it was a great time. And a lot of people don't know, my position there was contracted. I was there for 2 years, and once the contract came, due, it was kind of a mutual thing. Mocha was looking to go in a different direction. And I, quite frankly, was starting to feel like I was hitting the ceiling there. So, I decided that it was time to move forward and do my own thing. And Mocha supported me. The first major event I did was My Violin Weighs a Ton. This historic concert, hip hop concert at Severance Hall,
Right.
first of its kind. And I was working on that while I was still in my last year.
What was the date on that when you did that?
September 13th, 2019.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and then I did this Cavs event in February. It was just, I'm honestly like, this new company I started, Culture Junkie, really, it's self-explanatory. I'm addicted to culture, man. I just love really dope cultural experiences and sharing those same experiences with people the best way I know how, which is doing practically everything. Like it's hard for me to sit down, man. I do pretty much everything, but I don't have any ill wills towards Mocha. But I will say that I also experienced, what it's like being the only one, you know what I'm saying? The only black male salary at a white institution, where I feel like most of the work that's being showcased or exploited is from persons of color. So I felt the rumblings of lack of diversity, equity, and inclusion there as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So speed me up. We done made this transition to, being on your, making a different pivot, being independent. Everything is moving. You on the high, everything is popping off. And now, tell me like a little bit before the COVID hit and how that affected you and how that affected your business and how that affected everything else.
Well, man, I mean, I'm going to be honest, like, what may shock and surprise a lot of people was like, I was already about to take a step back from doing a lot of things I was doing. If you know me, specifically the last 3 years, but really last year in particular, I was out here, and I was doing events, I was getting awards, I was going to galas, I was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm grateful for all of it, but I was starting to get tired, you know what I mean? I'm starting to burn myself out, because a lot of the stuff that I wanted to be a part of or do, sometimes I just wanted to be behind the scenes, but because no one else could execute on the level that I could, I was the one who was front and center. Like, when I originally put together the sneaker event with the Cavs, I didn't want to host it. I wanted, I was in talks to bring in different hosts and all that. And, when it came down to the budget and who we could afford and all that, the rest of the team was like, man, Archie, you could do it. You've done this type of work before, whatever. So like I did everything. Same thing with My Violin Weighs a Ton. That was something I produced. I booked all the musicians. I helped put together the lesson plan. I taught the lesson plan with these kids. Like, and then on top of that, trying to recently Peel Dem Layers Back, my mental health awareness organization, we got a fiscal sponsor. So now we can actually start going for grants, and I think one of the problems that I've had running my organization over the last 3 years is we haven't really been a sustainable project. It's primarily been grassroots, like,
right.
And in the position I'm in now, like looking for a job, it's like, well, if we could build this to be a sustainable model, then I won't have to look for a job. I can just do PDLB 100%. You know what I mean? So I wanted to take a step back from doing anything. Like I got hit up to do a few different like online performances and a few other different things, like where I would have been on a platform. And I think just the way that I am, it takes me a minute to process stuff, so like I was like, man, I'm just getting used to the fact that, man, like we're not going to be outside. Like we can't operate the way that we used to. I had my first major client, you know, after working with the Cavs, you know, Culture Junkie, we were in talks to work with another major client, and it was going to be a paid gig, and that got canceled. Like, so, you know, everything got put to a standstill. And in the beginning for me, I was actually grateful to kind of take a deep breath, you know, and exhale and, you know, and you know, and chill for a little bit. But now I've kind of pivoted to where, you know, I've started working on building the infrastructure with PDLB, you know, like working on actual budgets and looking for grants. And I actually later on today got a call with our fiscal sponsor, Arts Cleveland, and talking about like how to fund Peel Dem Layers Back. And then, I mean, honestly, like, I won't say like I've been in a creative funk as far as writing, but I haven't really been motivated. It's just like when you are in this situation, and I don't know if, you know, I don't know if it's the same for you, but for me, like looking at it, it's like, well, damn, like where do I even start, you know, with creating something? So I've been watching a lot of videos. Like I'm the kind of guy who I get anything that that I'm really passionate about. I like to watch or read up on other people doing that thing. So like,
Tell me a little bit about that. So in your search, what you're searching for, what you're looking for, what motivates you?
so like earlier today, like I'm really into sneakers, as a lot of people know. So like earlier this morning, I was watching a video. Sean Witherspoon put out a video about how he put together the Air Max that he did with Nike last year. You know, and like so like showing the creative meetings of how the concept came together, and then the voting process, and then how the shoe came to be. Like I love a good story, and I love watching something come from nothing. So like I've watched that. I think what's some other stuff I've watched? This really good article that really was like one of the best as far as creative, like put me in a really good creative zone and mood, was that piece that the New York Times did on Black creatives, like interviewing or talking about other Black creatives. I don't know if you saw it, but like they were
No, I
talking
ain't see
about
that. Send that to
Iman.
me.
They had people like Kerry Washington talk about Kendrick Lamar, and I'm trying to think of who else. Like they did pieces on Toni Morrison. Ta-Nehisi Coates did something on I think To Pimp a Butterfly. Like, it was a really dope piece how they put it together, and that kind of put me in the zone of like, all right, well, you know, let me get to work and let me create something myself. You know, I watch a lot of I've been watching these beat battles.
Oh.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
caught, did you
yeah.
catch the Primo and RZA?
No, I ain't see that one. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah. So I've been watching some of those and watching D Nice do his thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I watched that Self-Made, that movie about Madam C.J. Walker, that LeBron produced on Netflix.
Let
Like
me ask you.
I like. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Let me ask you this: like,
Yeah.
you know, I know you big on mental health and all of that stuff. Any words of encouragement? Anybody hit you up about helping them cope with what's going on and helping them visualize, you know, being positive and all that stuff?
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. She actually, I think, second week after DeWine had put in that stay-at-home order, she was having a panic attack. She's an extrovert, so like she thrives off of interaction and, you know, seeing other people. And so like I sent her this. I use this app called Insight Timer, which has various meditations. I actually used it this morning, and in that you can actually go through different categories of what you need to meditate for. And there's one in there called SOS anxiety. So it's like for like if you're in the midst of a panic attack or if your anxiety is really ramped up. And I sent that to her. But what I've been doing, there was an organization called Community Health Charities that hit me up about writing an article about like what I'm doing to cope, and how to best get through this COVID-19 thing. And I basically respond to them like this week I started a series on my Peel Dem Layers Back page called the PDLB Survival Toolkit. And we've been having various guests, kind of like this. We've been having various guests come on the live, and I'll just have a conversation with how they cope. So I had Alexis Manalo and Casey Barge from Aloof Entertainment. They talked about their personal journeys with mental illness and how they cope, either from a spiritual perspective for Alexis or a musician's perspective with Casey. Oh. And this week, I'm having a talk with a resident psychiatrist. Her name is Brennan Brown. She's young. She's Black. Brennan is an amazing individual. She's actually on the advisory committee of my organization. She really is passionate about helping us, Black and brown folk, to get through mental illness. And she's got some really great tips. So we're going to be having that talk this Wednesday. But that's really been the main thing is, just every now and then I'll pop up and I'll do a video on Instagram. And then these shows that I've been doing, the Survival Toolkit on Wednesdays at noon, that's been my personal way of coping. I'm also going to talk with my pastor to start to do something around mental health in the COVID-19 crisis as well. But I got other ideas and things that I want to do. And now that we're all virtual, I'm actually in a better position to do it because it's going to cost less money to organize stuff. Yeah. But honestly, as far as like getting down to like actual practical advice, the first thing I would say is put together a routine like every day. Like even if you're working from home, you should be getting up at around the same time, taking a shower, getting dressed, having that downtime before you start working, having an official start time, lunch, whatever, like schedule. It takes you out of this this feeling of like just wandering, because like that's what I was really doing. And my wife, she suggested that I put together a routine. So like now, like I have a routine. I usually wake up around 7. I like to spend that time meditating, reading scripture, whatever. And then I have like what I call inspiration time. So like part of my inspiration time this morning was watching that Sean Witherspoon documentary. And then, drinking coffee or tea, and then getting into work mode, after I take my shower, get dressed, work. Cooking and cleaning has been therapeutic for me. I've been keeping the kitchen cleaner than I ever have. You hear me? Like
right. I started doing some plaster work. So
wow.
Yeah. Crazy. Start sanding some floors.
Oh snap.
Let me ask you this. For because me and you kind of like freelancing, self-employed entrepreneurs, kind of, familiar with certain tools of working online and things like that. What kind of words you have for people who just lost work and just don't know about looking up stuff, or really have to pivot on some type of online working type of thing? Anything about that?
Yeah, man, it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been overwhelming. I've had my moments where like, oh shit, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, and you get caught in the moment of thinking of how's this all gonna work out, whatever. But there are a ton of resources out there right now, specifically for freelancers. You can actually apply for the SBA loan for the paycheck protection. And then I think it was the emergency disaster. Those 2 loans you can actually apply for. And I'm pretty sure you can actually get a forgivable amount of up to $10,000. So that's some area. My good friend, I know McKinley as well. He sent me this list of grants for artists, freelancers. I can forward that to you so you can share with your followers. But honestly, it's also one of the big things that I've said is, especially if you're a creative, this is prime time to think outside the box and try to think about something of value? How can you utilize your skills, all these different talents that you have for such a time as this? Like, how can you, what's a deliverable that you can give that is more than, you know what I'm saying? Like this, like, cause the work that I do with mental health, all I need is a voice. That's really all I need, is to tell my story and to share what I know. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like you have to be creative with how you deliver that content. Like, you know, and then, you know, who your guests are or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that it's just, honestly, it's thinking outside of the box. I look at people like what Ricky Smith is doing, you know, like he's doing the deliveries to the healthcare workers and, you know, partnering with different organizations to do that. He also partnered with DJ EV. DJ EV just did this really dope DJ show, like by the Cleveland Sign in Edgewater. Like, you know, just so thinking outside of the box. I would say don't fucking blow your stimulus check. I done seen too many tweets from Black Twitter in particular talking about they're gonna buy the latest sneakers or they're gonna blow it on some new clothes, whatever.
I think a lot of people is think that, you know, one thing is help is coming. People think that everything is going to go back to normal. I think one of the things that kind of helped me, but it was a hindrance, was me getting some unemployment back when the economy crashed in 2008. It got me used to being outside of work, but at the same time, it kind of made me not as hungry to get back into work, which was cool because it put me into the space I'm in now. I'm not saying go back to that, but I'm really not looking for no checks or nothing like that. It's just let's get back to work. Let's pivot. This is a chance to do that. But I could be biased because I'm in a different space. I am a creative. I'm not scared to get on video. I got a video presence. So I'm just trying to, encourage anybody who's not comfortable getting in front of camera or creating content, YouTube channels and all of this stuff. But like you said, this is a time to learn how to use WordPress, so a little less Netflix. I see people drinking and watching, binging on Netflix and all this stuff and not creating anything, even if it's just going in and making a garden in the backyard, bro.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead, talk about it.
Just do something. Like it's because the other thing about it is, like, however we get out of this, we will never be back to normal. This is the new normal. This is the new way of existence. You know, I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of companies that no longer require people to work like at the location. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're going to see a lot of companies pivoting. So, like, you know, the other thing is like just this Zoom, you know, video conferencing. Like, what are some different ways to make video conferencing more adaptable or more, you know what I'm saying? Like, just thinking about in terms of that. But now is the time to, like, if you've ever like had an idea, like, I know for me, one of the things that I've been thinking about doing is writing a script, you know, and putting together a script based on my Violin Weighs a Ton. And I don't know how to write a script, you know what I'm saying? Like, but there is no better time to start writing or start expanding or trying out that idea, that thing that you always wanted to try that you was too afraid to, than now. You probably won't get another time period like this where the world is on standstill for you to try something new, you know? So I would encourage people to try something new. You know, at this point, like, we can't get any worse than this, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, don't let fear hinder you, you know what I'm saying? Like, lean into the fear, you know, it's okay to be afraid, but keep moving forward, you know what I'm saying?
I've seen a bunch of people in front of the governor's building protesting, like, lift everything, let's go back to work. I mean, you know, this is like a different mentality because I haven't worked in a long time. So, talk about that.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, I'm not a fan of DeWine's politics, but I think he's done a stellar job. You know what I'm saying, in terms of getting ahead of everything, as far as, like, you know, first response and shutting stuff down. And as a leader, that's one of the things you have to do. You have to, in spite of how certain people may be feeling, you gotta, you have to do things that you feel are the right moves in order to, especially in that situation, to save lives. Like,
Right.
I get it. People are bored. People want to go outside. Like, bruh, this is the other thing people can do. You can still go for a walk. You can go outside.
Right.
You can go to the park. You can go for a drive. Like, I know, like yesterday I went for a drive. Like, I was going to an essential place.
Me too.
Like, I went to what was it, Dave's? I think I went to Dave's supermarket. But instead of going to one in my neighborhood, I drove cross town to get to that one. So it was like a trip, but also therapeutic, and me clearing my head, you know what I'm saying, and getting out of the house.
Yeah. I was doing that. I was doing that already. I had bought a bike.
Word, yeah, I remember you had the bike.
Yeah, I had my bike probably like a year, 2 years, and I was just riding and just getting out on my own, just getting in some headphones. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts.
Word. What you been listening to?
Zeph Godin got a podcast. Who else on there? I was kind of looking for podcasts in iTunes, but not iTunes, but on Spotify. But it was like a chore doing that, and I didn't know that you could just get the podcast app.
Gotcha.
So the podcast app, was kind of dope too.
There's one I would suggest, especially for creatives and entrepreneurs, the business of hype. Like it's from Hype Beast, and it's hosted by Jeff Staple of Staple Brand. And man, let me tell you, like that show is like, I love that podcast. It's amazing. Like to hear how it's kind of like, I don't know if you heard the podcast, How I Built This. But it's about all of these various creatives within Hypebeast culture. So like the guys that created Pata, that they do a lot of sneaker collaborations. Jerry Lorenzo from Fear of God, Kirby Jean Raymond from Pierre Moss. He's had Biggs from the Rockefeller days. Like he's had a lot of really diverse members of culture that talk from a creative standpoint, how they created something, how it became this big thing. That's one I would definitely suggest.
Cool. I've been checking out. I think one of my weak areas, it used to be marketing. So I kind of dove heavy into the marketing with the design, but now I see that my weak area is sales. So understanding sales and understanding marketing. So I've been kind of going heavy with the Grant Gordon, talking about sales and 10X and what you're doing. So I think like one of the things that people need to understand is not just the video, like you said, it's like understanding marketing yourself and selling it too. So understanding the psychology of people and why they buy stuff, why you like Coca-Cola, why is TikTok better than Instagram? Not better, but why is TikTok taking off?
What's the name of that? I'm writing that down. What's the name of that podcast?
Oh, that's Grant Gordon. Grant Gordon is the dude that do the real estate.
10X, the 10X guy?
Yeah, the 10X guy.
Got you.
So he's got a lot of information on there too. So it's just like 10X. It's really simple, man. It's 10X in anything that you need to do or what you're doing. So doing that times 10. So whatever success you're having, just pumping that up to 10 times the effort, 10 times the, the results of that.
Yeah.
So making phone calls. I think the thing is just sales and understanding marketing funnels and sales funnels and email responses and all of that stuff. That's where you're going to get the people. And, almost like Amazon, when you buy something at Amazon, it's always got a little thing at the bottom saying people who bought this as well. So I think the thing that's missing with our community is that we don't have enough products.
That's real.
That's what I've been working on. So, my thing is I'm getting paid by hours, and I'm never going to be a rich man getting paid by the hours because it's not enough hours.
Yeah.
I need products like, even a mastermind. So I just listened to one, he's talking about the mastermind. So the mastermind group is almost just basically like me and you and a couple of people sitting down at the round table and having an intimate conversation with somebody, and they paying a mastermind cost for those conversations, for this information that we got. I mean, we both got I got 25 years, you got 20 years. of experience in doing this and building this up. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of like speeding people up. So this is kind of just what this conversation is. I mean, this kind of started off, I initially called Marshall first, and I was like, damn, I wanted to start a podcast, but a lot of people kind of get caught up in the process. What kind of microphones? Like you could spend days on YouTube trying to build something up.
Right.
And I'm just at the moment, right, where I just be doing stuff, man, and then I'll figure it out as it go. And I don't think people understand. Like you said, you want to write a script or a screenplay, and you have no clue on how to do it. We just gonna do it and figure it out as we go. Make the phone call. So,
100%. I mean, that's how I operate. I mean, that's how PDLB was established. I knew that there was a market for people of color that, that were suffering in silence. And I didn't know nothing about running an organization. I got my master's in music business, not business, not business administration. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And as far as I've gotten, you know what I mean, with the accolades and everything, that was for me, like, just kind of taking the ball, trying to run with it, you know what I mean? Or getting on the bike, falling down, getting them scabs, but getting back on the bike and learning. So now I'm at a point where I'm ready to take the training wheels off, so I'm really using this time, this downtime, quote unquote, to really learn on how to, like, really build it so it can run on its own, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't let the fear of not knowing how to do it stop me, you know what I mean? So like, and I commend you, man, like, because people need content like this, you know what I'm saying? Just conversations, especially from creatives, because it helps us get out of a funk, you know what I mean?
Right.
We get inspired from each other.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Anything else, bro? Anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, this is kind of off topic, man, but would you, I've been listening to it nonstop. What'd you think of Jay Electronica, man? Have you listened to it?
Yeah, I think it's dope. I think it's dope. I only listened to it like maybe 3 times. It's like, it need to be listened to like more than like once or twice.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything that got Jay on it a whole bunch of times, it's like a Jay-Z album.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna take it lightly. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get into there again. So yeah, what you think about it?
I love it, man. And for me, it was really interesting to hear an album like filled with so many references of, Islamic culture, and religion. That was my first time really being exposed to it. And it was like a newer respect that I gained because, like, I had heard so much of it, and the way that Jay delivered it was just like, I can't stop listening to this one song, Never Ending Story, that Alchemist produced, and any
I'm gonna have to check
Jay-Z Alchemist fan is like, yo, we've been waiting 20 years for Hov to rock on an Alchemist beat, and the beat is amazing, and Jay Electronica's flow and story. I mean, that album in essence is a book. Like, there's so
I haven't seen it get pumped up though.
That's the thing. Like, I think because of the pandemic, I think that's part of the reason, like, people haven't, but I also feel like, again, this is an album that really needs to be dissected from like professors and intellects and you know what I mean? Like, I was really hoping that Rob Markman would have did like you know what I'm saying, he would have got a round table together to really dive into the lyrics about it. And I feel like certain people have kind of gravitated to it, and certain people are kind of like it's over their heads. So I'm an intellect, so like the type of rap that I'm into and the type of rap that I do is it comes from a place of being a nerd. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's way over people's head, man.
Yeah.
I just saw something with Tory Lanez, because Tory Lanez been kind of taking off because he was doing the lives on Instagram.
Right. Yep.
So, and then he came up with a mixtape too. So
right.
I think that online presence, and if it's over people's head, it's kind of up there, man. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So, I'm kind of a fan of a little bit of everything. I think one of the albums that I was gravitated towards was Griselda. Griselda's my I think it's got that grimy New York feel, man. I love them dudes, man.
I love them dudes. And West Side Gun actually he's about to come out with an album next week. Ready for Paris. I can't wait. And
yeah.
I don't know if you saw his latest post. He survived the coronavirus, man.
Right.
Like, yeah.
I saw the one dude, Fred the Godson.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, he's got it too. And
he wasn't looking too good when I saw it.
He wasn't, man. And I think like the latest update is he's doing better. Like he's off the ventilator now.
Oh.
So he's doing better than what he was, but it was not looking good, bro. And West Side Gun said he didn't want people feeling sorry for him, so he kept it to himself.
I seen a hoodie with the scorpion on it too.
It's fire.
Fire. You thought about doing any merch or anything?
Yeah, I did I actually have merch on my website right now, pdlb.org. Like I have I put together a hoodie for My Violin Weighs a Ton, and then some official Peel Dem Layers Back merch. One of the t-shirts was a concept I came up with last year. It's called Coke Dealer. So like, you know, instead of Coke or Hope, Coke Dealer. So like I have, and all that stuff is available now. I think like you said, one of the things that I need to dive into is how to push it. You know what I mean? Because people love the designs, but ain't nobody bought it yet. You know what I mean? So like that's something I
think testing and doing something with having a couple different landing pages, and those landing pages is being direct and seeing, because somebody said that, you know, they like all the stuff that I'm doing, but they don't know my services. So being more direct on sales, I think that's the thing that we need to work on, man, is sales and getting people to convert. So, you know, it's mastering that landing page and maybe having an opt-in and maybe giving something away, getting that email. If they're willing to give you an email, then the email can be attached to sticking in their credit card. So
I feel that.
Yeah, it's like different techniques that the marketing sales dudes is using to really crush it. So I would say put some energy. I tell anybody, put some energy into marketing, sales, and all of that stuff, because it's basically a formula. The formula is already done. We just need to look it up and copy it. That's it.
Got it.
So just get some resources to see who your competition is, and then getting some tools that you can find online to see what keywords they're using, what's on their landing page, where they're putting sales at. So you can see their analytics because it's all open information. So see who's doing what you're doing and what's on their landing page and how they're selling it. Is it a video on there? Are they giving something away? So it's just really reverse engineering who's already crushing it, because we don't have time to figure this out. That's why we're reading and we're looking up to stuff. So just get the formula for somebody else. I recommend this book to everybody, and I've been talking about it for days, is .com Secrets. And the guy goes over, he came up with some software called ClickFunnels, and the ClickFunnels give you those landing pages, those opt-in pages, those email pages. He talks about creating an email script, because if you see somebody selling something, like I can't think of it now, but this lady got something with, I'm gonna ask you something else too. So I would say get into the .com Secrets. You thought about doing anything? Because I'm kind of interested in this myself. Doing anything with coming up with, because you work with the kids too, coming up with some type of content for the kids, like a coping book or something like that, some cards or something like that.
Yeah. So like I actually, one of the things that I'm looking for funding for was what we call the Peel Dem Layers Back Survival Toolkit. So like this was something that we actually made for anyone, anyone that was suffering. So it comes with like this, a message from us, basically detailing what the survival toolkit is for, a journal, so you can actually like write down like what you're going through. It has our mission in there, a pen to write with the PDLB on there, some incense sticks, because it helps, man. The it helps with calming you down, man. And then
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
this is a fuchsite stone, which is connected to the heart chakra. It also helps with, you know, calming you down. So like part of the funding that we are looking for is to manufacture and make some more of these, you know what I mean? So like people can use this in real time. But in terms of a book, yes, I definitely, I'm looking into writing a book because I feel like, you know, even if it's just an ebook, because I feel like people could really, you know, they could use the information on how to cope. Because like, man, telling you, if I ain't know how to do what you know, how to cope with my depression, my anxieties and all that, I don't know if I'd be here, bro. Like, I don't know.
Facts.
So like I do, man. And I'm planning on doing another My Violent Ways of Time with the kids as well.
I think one of our problems. I'm sorry to cut you off, bro.
No, you good.
I think one of our problems is we don't have enough mentors and we don't have enough role models, and we so busy. That's very practical. So I would suggest anybody is to find some online. So I do a lot of reading, man, and just a lot of stuff on the mind, and you know, people need to understand how the mind works, man. You got subconscious, you got conscious. Your subconscious is controlling you. You got a behavior associated with thoughts. You got thoughts that you got your own thoughts, but you got thoughts that's coming in.
Right.
And, you know, all of this stuff. So the thoughts that's coming in is attached to emotions to tell you if it's true or not. And then it becomes a belief. And now you're stuck in this belief. It's hard to get out that pattern. So
that's real, man. And I mean, I've talked to kids about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know you have too. Like, that's why, like, one of the big things for me is meditation. You know, listening to the breath, and because at the end of the day, we don't own any of our thoughts. They just come into our head, and we decide whether or not we're gonna latch on to them or let them go.
Facts.
Part of what meditation is learning how to let go of those thoughts and just be present. You know what I'm saying? And
Facts.
it helps you out throughout the day. Once you kind of train your mind to fight back or combat like negative self-talk and imposter syndrome and, you know, all these different things, like you can do anything, straight up.
Facts. So it's limited time, bro. Give me some ending words. Tell me how to find you, all of that stuff, man. I appreciate you. This was dope. I needed it.
Man, I appreciate you having me, bro. You can find me on all the socials, Archie Green, ARCHIE Green. On Instagram, it's Archie_Green. On Twitter, it's _Archie Green. You can follow us on Peel Dem Layers Back, at Peel Dem Layers Back on Instagram. We're also on Twitter at Peel Dem Layers, and on Facebook. You can also go to our website, PDLB, www.pdlb.org. We have, we're taking donations, so you can donate to us, and those donations are all tax deductible through our fiscal sponsor. Like I said before, we got merch on there as well, so support. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you, Jay.
Thanks, bro. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, bro.
And be safe out there. Stay at home. Wash your hands. Put on a mask.
Hey, you know what I had to do, man? I had to stop watching the news, bro.
Yeah, bro. Turn that shit off.
I was already like paranoid, getting healthy at the same time, and then I'm watching all the news, man. It was making me sick, man. My parents, it's like COVID-19 experts, man. They tripping, like they watching too much.